say the machlokes Ravid and Rashba. Okay? Machloket Ravid and Rashba. So we're going to learn the Ravid and the Rashba inside. Then we're going to see what did the Birkat Shmuel say. With the help of Hashem. Siyata Nishmai. Okay. So I'll start reading the Ravid. So here, before we read the Ravid, we have to read the Gemara. So the Gemara says, Rova said, Omar Rova. If somebody says, marry Iskachi li lechetziai, marry, engaged to me to my half. Kudeshes, she's Kudeshes. Somebody says, Chetz yoch mekudeshes, to half a you of the woman, be mekudeshes to me, mekudeshes. So Rava makes a distinction between half of the man or half of the woman. Half of the man works, half of the woman doesn't work. So I'm going to it's a difference.
No, there's no difference. Why is he asking the question?
Because he understands there's no shouldn't be any difference. And he explains why it should not be a difference. Why? Why half is not just going to take us at Kika and Isha Lechetz Isha. The same pasuk says Kika Ish Isha, also Ish. Ish are half of a man.
It has to be.
He understood that Reuben is learning that the two words in the pasuk, Ish and Isha, are not the same. And it should be the same.
But why should they be the same?
Because the same pasuk that says Kiyikach, take Ish Isha, talking about both.
Yeah, but it's a relationship. Man taking what is a relationship?
Relationship. So they should be equal.
That's right.
Number one. Number two is, I'll explain to you another story. My mind, I have another story to it. That it's a mashmos. It's not even a mute. You hear this, Rabbi Laser? So the Makne says the husband in the walls is a mashmos. And when a man takes a woman, it's to be a complete woman. So the same mashmos, when it says each, the same mashmos. Mashmos means understood in the meaning. It's not a verb. It's not an extra word which has a mute. They can't hear two people. What? Same mashmos. The words, mashmos of the words. When the Torah says kikach ish, the mashmos, ish is complete ish. The mashmos is not a diuk. There's this ish sholem and there's extra, and it could have said in many other ways. Satay is b'tafka. Not because it could have said in other ways is, and by choosing this word, she had learned this to mute. That's called mute. Mashmos is not because I can write it in different ways and write it this way. Mashmos means the meaning of the word. That's what it's saying. So I mean, Zelensky should be the same. Same mashmos. A woman is complete. Same mashmos man is complete. See, first I'm reading the Gemara. Okay. So Rabbi answered back Abaye. Actually, here now come. Also, Misa Celebrate a woman cannot be married to women. To men. If he has enough money. This is what he told her. I want to marry another woman. As the Ritva says, he told her, making a condition, even like money or something like that, I was still married to him. You know. He says, don't marry another woman. Is only minog or something. You make sure in the ksuba, no, you're not going to marry another woman. But if he says, well, right, but a condition, I did to ask you a question, even without the words, he can marry another woman. But he made a condition because he doesn't have enough money, so then she can oppose. And if he made a condition to start with, so she agreed. That's what the Rito said. Anyhow, what's the chiluk between a man and a woman? Let's go over here. What's the difference between a man and a woman? רבי יוסף, אתה יכול לדבר איתו בקטע בצד? אשמח מאוד. So let's go back here. Let's take a mistake on the Moscow. The Gemara says that Rov this position. He says, yes, I'm right. Half of a man, the Kudeshes. Half of a woman, not the Kudeshes. Why? Because when he says half of me, he can marry two women. So therefore what? So therefore, half doesn't mean half. Half means all potential to marry another woman if I want, etc. I'm not saying names now. I said Pshat Yavah, you can say another Pshat Yavah, another Pshat say. Because that's the Pshat that I read the Gemara. You can have one Pshat, go ahead and say, you have another Pshat. Go ahead and say. I'm not holding a name now. Hello, see names, I need to learn.
Says a Yochanan, it says
Yes.
and if you men would say marry one woman, and if you should call it Akka debate like
Shrigan.
so why was he also would give me for a couple men?
Good question.
So why was it not?
You know, the Rashba asks his question, he says, Tzarich liyun. But Toises answer. Toises says that everybody is marrying a full woman and the Chaloi starts now. So it's a full woman with Chaloi starting now, which didn't finish. So before, since the Chaloi started and finished, there's another man that can marry a full woman without didn't take effect. But it's a full woman. That's what Toises says. The Rashba didn't like this answer. After didn't get involved with it later on. So let's go back here. What do we have? So the Gemara holds back his position and he says, no. When a man says half of me, she's mekudeshes, I can marry two women. What does that mean? So I said, or Rashi says there, let's see Rashi, then it'll be easier to bypass the attack here. Rashi says, no, there's no Rashi in this. Yes. There's no Rashi on Isel Beitre Loichazi. Yeah, but in the other part, Gavra Beitre Chazi, there's no Rashi. Maybe Rashi in Gittin, there's a Rashi there, maybe. Yes, probably there's a Rashi there too. What? In the Zayin, there's no Rashi about the men's side, only the women's side. What? I don't know, the whole thing is not printed right here. 1 second, somebody didn't bought it. They didn't print it right. It's not from here. Oh, yes, I'm reading Rashi and Gittin. There's no Rashi. The Rashi doesn't explain. It says, okay, it doesn't explain there. No Rashi explains. But I was one of the pshat that the difference between a man and a woman, yes, Rabbi, what do you want to say? Who is Yosef? Rabbi Yosef, yes. Yes. Yes.
Going to say, It is not because he want to marry somebody else. Who's gonna say that? But with the shloim skinas, why are people gonna say that?
So therefore, that's what he wants to ask. So what's the question? He's asking, for sure, that's what he means.
People are asking what happened if he would say that. The fairness.
Right. What would we would say half and not all?
Yeah, who's gonna say that?
If somebody did, we talk about the theoretical in London and understanding of how the machinery or what the Torah is saying. That's what we're dealing with. It's very important to understand. The Gemara, it's codes. The Gemara is teaching you the fundamental understanding of what Hashem said in His words. But then it comes out sometimes in weird cases, but that we don't care about those weird cases. We're talking about an understanding of it. And what we do, how we apply the Torah in 2025. We have new situations, new reality, right? It doesn't matter. What we do in Iyun, we learn the Gemara, we learn the Torah, we understand the fundamental understanding of it. Once you understand the understanding of it, then you can apply it to any reality. Understand? So maybe this reality is not Nogah, but there's other realities. So we now trying to understand the understanding of what Hashem wanted to say. So a man takes a woman. What does that mean? A man is a full man. Then okay, so who's going to say like that? You're right. He says like that. That's the point. The point is that the man definitely people struggle. This is a pure abuse. Definitely in the world they struggle about love, and right? All the whole songs of the world and all the books, most of the books of the Goyim, it talks about love and relationships, right? And people have a couple of women and then a side, is that, which means how much you're going to give. It's a very, very hot topic. I mean, that the whole world goes around it. So we have the answers to love. Mishugoyim. Mishugoyim are not going to talk like this to the wife, but in reality, that's what they get it from themselves. That's what all. She has to accept it also, yes. According to the Rebbe, he's telling us, give me permission, marry. See it in the future, yes. Okay. Before I got married, before I got married, I made a condition with my wife. I said, listen, the halacha is that a man needs to support a woman. I want to learn Torah. And I made a condition before that you're going to support me. I'm going to learn Torah, you work and support me. I said, why did you make that condition? Because I saw Tosefta. Tosefta brought down that Rabbi Yoshua, the son of Rabbi Akiva, went to court with his wife. What was the court? Was it days of hunger, no food? And they went to Beis Din. The woman says, Reb Chaim learns Torah, but there's no money for the Kenvanim, there's no money for the store. They used to say, Reb Chaim Atuski's wife used to scream, they used to say, right? Or Rabbi Sheinberg learns Torah, but I need money for them. So they went to Beis Din, and she said the obligation of supporting is on the man. That's the ksuva. And there's no food, there's hunger. So let him go work, stop learning, go work. All right? What happened? So Rabbi Yeshua said, I trust my wife, and whatever she says, I believe. Ask her, please basically ask her, if I made a condition before I got married, that the supporting will not be on me, because nice moment you can make noim on money, that she will support me and I won't support her. So the rabbis and the Beis Din asked the woman, what was your condition before you got married? So she said, yes. So they said, En achrei t'nai v'lo klum. You made a condition, finito, bye-bye. En achrei t'nai v'lo klum. Once you made a condition, it's finished. It's how, because Tasha moment is how. Comes the Beis Shmuel and he says, only if it's prior, if it's prior to marriage, before marriage. Okay, right, you're asking very well, Rabbi Yoshua. But everything where the Torah talks about money, you can make conditions. You cannot make conditions. Can you make condition on money? The law is on money obligation. Let's say I damage, God forbid, right? So then you can forgive me. Can you forgive me on money? Contradicts the Torah. I damage, I need to pay. That's when you can forgive me. Which means if my axe goes, you can forgive me. And money you can forgive. So even though the Torah says it's an obligation, but you can forgive it. So the condition works as forgiveness. But to say, let's say a condition that I'm not going to have a relationship with your wife. That's an act of obligation. You can't.
What? See,
No, because that is not money. A relationship between husband and wife is not money. The mitzvah you must do. You cannot make conditions. That's yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's a couple of places. It's in Ksubas daf what? It's in Bakas daf Gimel. Those places I recall right now. There's many places. Machlekes between Rabbeinu and Chacham. Okay. So I made this condition with my wife before. Then I got married, and I saw that this condition not 100% works. Why? That I'm not related to my wife. She wants any other support, because it says if somebody wants to make, a lot of people get married second marriage, so they want to make a deny of money that his money or her money is not going to go to the other side. It's called a skemei mamon. So you cannot do a sken mamon after marriage. It's already chayav. Before you get engaged, before kiddush, you cannot make the condition. Why? You cannot make the condition because there's those of or you cannot make a condition on something not chayav yet. So it has to be, the poskim says, has to be between the kiddushin and the nesuin. So when you do second marriages, a lot of times I did it myself a couple of times. Second marriage, and people have time, when even was one boy in yeshiva's first marriage, his father died, was a yosef, and they left all the wealth of the father was left by this firstborn bechoya. It was not only his money, part of his family money, whatever it is. So he asked me to do also tonight momoy, and it's brought down the poskim that you have to do it between the kiddushin and the suin. Only then it works. And I made this condition before this. We do kiddush and swim in one shot. I asked my wife that before the kiddushi, while I was meeting her. I said, that doesn't work. I was on a Moritz. Okay, but that time, yes, I'm sure. Yes. Yeah. איפה? Yes.
יש בעיה.
נכון.
אם הכוונה של הבעל, הוא רוצה להתקבל עוד אישה, למה תוספות אומר, אם הוא עומד מאולסת, לא מקודשת?
לא, זה לא מה שתוספות אומר. לא. תוספות אומר שאם אני אומר מאורסת, אז חצי לא נפשט לכל. רק בקידוש נפשט לכל. עכשיו, אנחנו לא מדברים על זה, מדברים על משהו אחר. כשאדם אמר חצי, הוא התכוון חצי או לא. אחרי שאתה אומר מה הוא התכוון, יש סברה שהתפשט. אז מתפשט זה רק בקידושים, ולא בלשון אירוסין. אבל מה הוא התכוון זה הנידון שלנו. אז בגבר הוא התכוון להתחתן עם שתי נשים, אז לא דווקא חצי, ואישה חצי זה חצי. היא לא יכולה לשתי גברים. אוקיי. כן. הגבר יכול שתי נשים, אישה לא יכולה עם שתי גברים. אוקיי, תלו, כן, I like that. Okay, that means, no, not true. Maybe I give another quarter to another one. No, good. Yes. 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 No, all for each wife is all. That's the simplicity. I don't have to marry more than 4 wives. Gemara says, the Ksuba says, why not to marry more than 4 wives? Because each woman should have an oil once a month. Erev Shabbos. Jewish people are oil as Erev Shabbos. She have once a month. She will have, but more than that, you cannot do this. So therefore, it's basically hurting the woman. So what does it mean? It means that each one has a quarter. In reality, yes, but in relationship, it's full. In reality, she only gets a quarter of the time. In reality, she only gets a time. This 4 women. 2, she only gets half the time. Time physically. What Rachel says is my night. Sell it to me. She sold the night. What does it mean? It's a time. It's a time you can't be with 2 women at the same time. It doesn't work physically. So you may live. It definitely means time consuming. Like you have chetzi every chetzi and choy. The most what do you do? The most what do you do? So mitzad shen over the he works one day for his work, one day himself. It says that's in the Gemara in Babasa David Gimel. It says that's a mice of been married tikanto so be meloche. It's not about tikanto be marriage. He's going to marry you. Is even he cannot marry because the same body physically cannot be with the other hand is shtamish with the hand. So there is something physically, but we talk as far as issues relationship, which is above the physical time. Then I can say a man for 2 women means full man, and for myself to 2 women. I'm giving you the full attention. You have 2 children. You tell your children, I love you. I have 2 children. I 50% I love you, 50% I love the other child. No. You love each child 100%, but you give them time in reality only 50% of your time. You love them fully. So conceptually it's fully. That's the same thing as here. You understand, Rabbi? That's my understanding. What's the other possibility? It's only half.
Each one you give, whatever you give. Each one has a different part.
Possible. I don't think so. I think that the relationship of marriage, so you also have abusive, relationship is full. Ask all the girls how they relate to the marriage. It's not, okay, they want.
But my
I don't have a guy. I don't have a guy to either side. I don't have a guy. It just makes sense to me. There allows that 1 man can marry 4 women. What does that mean? What does it mean makes more mistaber? When the Torah says 1 man can marry 2 women or 4 women. Okay, good. He also don't know. I have in my heart what's like my understanding, but I don't know what's true. I don't know. Mistaber is, I think, is a full relationship to both. That's more mistaber. More makes sense to me is a full relationship. In reality, is half the time consuming. But like 2 children, I love both of my children fully. But in time, I only can give them half the time. You cannot change. Marry 4, not 5, because you need oina once a week. There's no 5 weeks a month. There's only 4 weeks a month. Can't change that.
Wasn't it more about giving, like, providing physical support? So that.
Well, not to marry 2 women. But what is marriage about? It's not for money for support. Marriage is a relationship.
Allowing men to provide more women was a way to allow more women to be heroes.
Right. So now I want to know now that they're all great. All that being said, now he has 4 wives, not more. What does that mean? He's married each one fully, and the time consuming is 1/4, or there's a full marriage to each one, and that's whatever they get. They get full marriage. And
But the question is because a hair in a hair equal a full marriage. You see, it's in words, you have to understand the numbers.
good. Let's leave it alone. Good. So now let's back to us. The Ravid. Let's see the Ravid inside. Please open the Ravid. It's in the sheets here is in page 6. Page 6. Page 6. Page 6. When he says half of me, I want to marry another woman. Because of a Ravid, ואיש למיעוטים משקץ אוהב וקצה בן חוירי. שקידש דאוסם בנה וקצה איש כניסה בגידי. He says, the miut of Chetzi Evet, Chetzi Ben Choiri, is, sorry, the miut of Ish, but Chetzi Ish is to remind Chetzi Evet, Chetzi Ben Choiri. The awesome Vada of Chetzi Ish, there is definitely Chetzi Ish, because other Chetzi is Evet. So when he says Chetzi, it's physically Chetzi. That's called physically. Okay, legally. Legally. The awesome Vada of Chetzi Ish, legally. It was legal. Good. Says Vada Chetzi Ish legally in such a case. When he has Chetzi or Chetzi Ben Choiri. So what is he really saying? He's really saying that when a man says half, it's not Vada Chetzi Ish. When a person says half of me means I want to marry 2 women, it's not Vada Chetzi Ish. So what is it? Both are legally. Both are legally, but Chetzi Evet, Chetzi Ben Choiri is Vada Chetzi Ish. And when a person says I want to marry 2 women, so then what is it? Not Vada Chetzi Ish. What is it? Shalom? Oh, no, somebody said it. Finish koyach. That's what it's. Oh, I was waiting for the screen. Yes. What? I understand that.
And the word "had means he's not he's married to the world, he's expect to the world. But it means he only married to him. The word itself means only.
What does it mean? Also, Vada Chetzi Ish.
Yeah.
Talk about legal. Talk about the words here. Also, Vada Chetzi Ish. I understand, Rabbi, I understand. Listen, I understand when he says, I want to marry 2 women, you can interpret it many ways. It's not Vada. But when it's Chetzi Evet, Chetzi Choyv, it's Vada Chetzi Ish. That's what he says. Good. So we open what? And one of the Chetzi. When I say, I want to marry 2 women, it can be 2 ways. Half of me or half of me to 2. Not Vada. So then it's open. It's like we solve the argument. The guy says it's open. Good. Nire Shuz on the Forish comes the Rashba and he says, Nire looks like Shuz on the Forish. He, Princess Mary explained. The Rov Ochikom Meodale. This is what Rov is answering. Chetziach Mekudeshas, half of you, I know Chetzi Isha. The Karamait Rachmono. When he says Chetziach, she cannot marry 2 men, he's saying, I agree that have says Chetzi Ish is not Mekudeshes. He didn't explain what's the reason. Abai understood the reason is Chetzi Ish, and he said, my Shno, my Chetzi Ish. Rove answered, yes, there's a miut of Chetzi Isha, and when he says Chetziach, it's Chetzi Isha, the Teres B'mayit. The Al-Kocho Chetzi Isha Mamash Umekadosh. When he says Chetzi Isha, is definitely he's marrying half her, Mamash, half her, Mamash, half, Mamash. physically have. The mamash. Why? Because he said chetzi. And the woman cannot marry two men. So literally, you find the literally chetzi means physically chetzi. Legally, chetzi. Mamash. Mamash used to say, here is Rabbi Menachem. Menachem Mental. Schneerson. That's just say mamash. You remember that? If he has gone to mamash, used to say it already. It's not possible to say when he says chetzi isha was not mamash. And this is what he meant to say. If you want to marry to another man, marry another man. He's giving her permission to marry another man. A woman cannot marry two women, two men. No, but that's not chal.
Why is it how the other way?
The Torah permits one man to marry two women. The Torah doesn't permit one woman to marry two men. That's not chal. Not chal. Not chal. Not chal. It's not. It's not loving. It's not chal. It's erve. Erve is not chal. Loving is like what Rabbi Akiva says is chal. Is not. But erve, Mrs. Bezdin, is not chal content. There's no opinion in chal. Avalish, now we learn in Kiddush. Those are in the 10th chapter. Not the 10th, that's all you were saying. The 4th chapter, the guys just finished Bikis, right? Learn this alone. Avalish, but a man, of course, Amachmon Torah said, man, lo imemait iskach lechatsia. When the Torah wrote, ish is not to be married to half of me. Though it's possible, yes, possible not. But since it's possible, I said if I want to marry another one, since it's possible to say, so you can't say that doesn't make sense that they will might ish in the case when he says chetzi, because I can explain a good way that I can fulfill the pasuk ish sholi. So what did the Torah? Ishu chetzi ish, tainu chetzi chetzi. The Torah is only something that is really chetzi ish. How chetzi ish mamash? And half of him is a slave. So what we got here? 1 second before Rabbi. First, I want to summarize. What does he say? And ask questions. What does the Raivan say? And what's unique about the Raivan? The Raivan is saying some which we didn't say the Gemara. He came up with a new case, which everybody is shocked. The Rashba is shocked. Why do you have to jump to that? But what we learned? He says when the Torah says ish v'lo chetzi, ish v'lo chetzi, the Gemara only dealt with when I say chetzi means chetzi mamash, or chetzi means I married my home for two. It will be for two or chetzi mamash. So by chetzi ish is mamash, the Torah knocks it out. The Torah says chetzi, and full and not chetzi. But by a man that it can be, I can explain it fully to two women. So therefore, it doesn't fit the case. But I didn't change the miyut. That's a simple way of learning. Again, Abaye attacked. Aishma. What's the difference? The same ashmos of ish v'lechetzi is also by ish v'lechetzi. So what really, if you read simply, Rob's answer is, he says, you're right. The same miyut, ma'ishma. You're right. Both of them, what the Torah says, isha and ish is not chetzi. Just buy a woman, I'm stuck. She cannot marry. I cannot explain it means all for two men because those exist. So after chetzi comes out chetzi mamash. It's bound out. But by ish, when he says chetzi, I can explain means all. So it's not bound out. But the miut, the mashmos still stays. We need to change the mashmos of what Abaye's question was. That's a simple way of learning. Comes the Ravid. He says, no. Ravid says we have a whole new pshat. The Ravid has a whole new pshat. What's the whole new pshat? The Ravid has a whole new pshat. He says, no. You're mistaken. I'm going to redefine the miyut or the mashmos. He says now miyut. The miyut of the Torah. When the Torah says ish, and the Torah says isha, is not fully and not chetzi. It's only if it's fully not chetzi mamash. But when it's not, but it's not chetzi mamash, It's okay. Where do I have chetzi mashlikli? Where do I have chetzi mashlikli? And chetzi evet, chetzi melchoi. So since when the Torah says ish and lo chetzi ish, and I can explain the word that when I say chetzi of me, I can explain I want to marry two men. So therefore, I'm redefining the miut or the mashmos of ish, that not chetzi, to something else. This is a chiddush. Which is, instead of saying that since chetzi by a man doesn't mean chetzi means all, so the miut that says ish ole chetzi comes from a mind chetzi. But when a man says normally the word chetzi means all. If I will say chetzi v'lo kuli, which is mamash chetzi, will be out of the pasuk. This is the simple way of learning. But the Raiva says no. The Raiva says no. Because when I say chetzi by a man, I can explain kuli for two women. So therefore I'm redefining the pasuk. And I'm saying, v'lo yimit rachmon ela case, where's the chetzi mamash? But chetzi is evet. But when I would say chetziai, it can be both. Little brown. I didn't say chetziai, I said chetziai v'lo kuli, which is I specify, it's not similar to evet, because evet, chetzi evet is lo bar kiddush, and the other half part is not bar kiddush. When I say chetzi v'lo kuli, I mean chetzi, but the other half is bar kiddushi. I'm in the parsha. Just I made a shield, but in the parsha, what will be there? It seems to be from the Raiva, the mashmos of the Raiva. That's why the Rav will learn pshat in the Raiva too. That according to the Raiva, when he says chetzi v'leikul, it's in. Stop. I want this is the point. Clear? Not clear. Okay, go over again. This is the Ikar Chiddush. This is the Ikar Indian here. The Raiva came up with a new Chiddush. He said that since that when whoever answered Abaye's question, the Raiva learned the premise of Abaye didn't stay. He changed the premise of Abaye. The simple way of learning that the understanding of Ish v'lo chetzi is the same, and nothing changed. Just the case of chetzi, half of a man, is not part of the chetzi ish, because it means all the two women. My whole pin to two women. This is the simple way of learning. Raiva says no. Since when a man says chetzi, I can translate means my whole self for two men to two women. So therefore, I'm relearning the pasuk. When the pasuk says ish, not chetzi, it's not memayit chetzi. It's memayit something else. When I cannot have the other chetzi. The other chetzi is an evet. Chetzi evet melchoi. When it's mamash, I'm not about kiddush on the other side. But what will be a case, middle case, when he says chetzi v'lo kuli, half of me not all. What will be the deal? Be mekudeshes. She would be mekudeshes. She would be mekudeshes. Because we learned the pasuk and ish differently. We learned the miut. Different thing. We retranslate. It's not the same mashmos. Complete woman, not chetzi. Complete man. Not pushto. You're now adding svoras. It's not. There's no miut on it. By a woman, it says ish v'lo chetzi. By a man, cannot be in a my chetzi, because I can say when he meant chetzi means my home for two women. So since it's not a my case, we're going to say nu pshat and the Torah says ish v'lo chetzi. It goes on chetzi mamash. When the other half is not bakidushin, is evet. So that's the chetzi. But what would be a middle case? Nafkamina, if a person says chetziai half of me v'lo kuli, not all. I transfer it. I give you a translation. Don't translate when I say chetzi means my whole being for two women, which is possible, or if I only said chetziai. I gave you a note to explain, don't go that route, and say chetzi v'lo kuli. What would be the din? Would be good. Because we learned the drosha differently. We learned how the bayish. We learned the miut on chetzi evet mamash. That is not about kiddush and bekula. What?
Why can't you?
Good question. Good question. Good question on the Rashba. Why not? But that's what the Rashba says. The Raiva, sorry. That's what the Raiva says. Yes, Rabbi.
can't remind the owner with the witness, so how can he say half if he's Mamayat? Continue, he's Mamayat the owner. By saying that he's Mamayat owner.
Who says oil is a problem by a man?
Who says no one's Mamayat?
Yes, only a drosha. If the drosha goes to something else, it's free.
In the rights of man and woman when you're married.
The Torah permits you to marry 4 women, up to 4. Oil is once a month. So,
That's not true. That's only a hectare.
mitzad the heter of not breaking the Torah's, not mitzad the heter, it's breaking the Torah's rule. That's why Chazal said it's a 2-4.
As long as you have a hectare, then you have to
Yes, yes.
Why in the private the Torah will consider the notion of Hetzi like not real Hetzi because he can marry another woman. I will say the other. I will say the opposite. I will say if the Torah permits, so he shouldn't clarify what is wrong in the Torah. The Torah gives you the right to marry a lot of women.
Yes.
So when he said
When you can support it, you can support it.
yeah. So when you say Hetzi, if I want the Torah,
Yes.
say what this guy mean? I'm the Torah.
What does that mean?
He wants to say real Hetzi.
No, stop. I have 2 options. Or to say real chetzi, or to say is my whole being to 2 women. What do you rather be explain?
He doesn't have to clarify what is already nifa.
You heard what Rabbi Yosef Gonzalez said? What women would like more? Women would like half of you or all of you to 2? A child, he wants all your love to 2 children or half you to love fully to get his love. What do you rather? Exactly, that's it. He wants full of you, full love, he share with 2 people. So, what's it possible to explain such a way? He explains such a way. So he made the milk that goes on that. Therefore, the rabbis understood that the milk goes on something else. Goes on chetzi even that there's not the other part is not bakidushin. Chetzi that the other part is not bakidushin. But chetzi, which the other part you are bakidushin, even he said chetzi, pigor according to this. He says the efsha. The Rashba is the word efsha. What does the word efsha mean? What the Hebrew word does efsha mean? What does the word efsha mean, Rabbi? Efsha. It's possible, that's what he said. Possible. Just say this what he meant. It's possible. Right? And since it's possible the 2 people, we assume that's what he meant to say. That's what we just talked about. Okay, now 1 second. Let's jump to what the Rashba says. But, the Rashba has 2 kashas on the Ravid. 2 kashas that why the Gemara, I'll say one by heart, one inside. Why the Gemara in Gittin as a suburb by Chetzi Ebed and Chetzi Ben Choyrim, if it's a miskudash or not, the Gemara should pashtin that says the Torah says ish v'le Chetzi. She goes on there. That's question number 1. When the Gemara has a suffix in Gittin, Chetzi Ebed, Chetzi Ben Choyrim, mikudesh or not. Chetzi Ebed, Chetzi that married Ben Choyrim, mikudesh or not. The Gemara has a suffix. Why the Gemara didn't poishet the suffix? From the pasuk, ish v'le Chetzi ish. Like the Ravid is learning, Pshat in the pasuk. So the Ravid will answer simply, that's what Rava holds, Rava. And Rava takes pashtas there, it's not Kodesh. And he learns Rava is a dechia. That's not a strong kasha. I'm reading the second kasha of the Rashba against the Ravid. Very in the middle paragraph in the last 2 lines, the last 2 black lines. Because he himself gives an opposition to give an answer. That Rava there says that it's not good. And he says, no, Rava is the Chia. He gives that possibility himself to give an answer. Very. He revealed his weak part of this question. Very, and more. Another kash.
Yeah, but it doesn't only mean, no, it means that the first one is stronger and the second one is weaker. That's what it means.
Okay, good. Because I jumped the middle kash. The first, second, I'm on the third. Ve'oid. I didn't explain the middle kash. Ve'oid. The ledibra Rav Zal According to the Ravid, bless his memory, the Gemara should have said, the Isha come in my Brachman. Do me the Chetzi Ish. ולמיעוטה בחץ השפחה, חץ המזכורי כממיים. It should have said, when the Torah says Isha, the Torah is Memayit, similar to Chetzi Ish. Half a maidservant and half a free woman. Aval Mekadesh Chetzi Isha, when you marry half a woman and the other half is Bar Kiddushin, Keva de Chazir L'kulo, your Bar Kiddushin, the other half, potentially, even though he said only Chetzi, not Kulo, Mekudeshes. Which means he's saying you derive it that already invented by a man, by what does this ish, is a no miut, not chetzi meshal bekinyan. Rather, chetzi means that the other chetzi is not bakidushin, is out. So learn the same thing by chetzi isha. The Torah says isha chetzi isha. The Torah is not in my meshal bekinyan. When I say chetzi by a woman, although doesn't mean the other chetzi, because you're not married to two men, means totally chetzi, real chetzi. Still, there should be mikudeshes. Why? Because potentially the other side could be chasi lekula. Where the Torah said woman and not half, it goes and when it's mamash. Mamash. What is mamash? That the other chetzi is not bakidush, it's chetzi shivcha. Which means he's asking, I'll summarize what he's really asking. He's asking you derive it, that because we have a problem by Chetzi Ish, to translate the word Chetzi means Kulu Chetzi am Chetzi Ish Mamash, because there's no Chetzi, because you can't explain when he said Chetzi means all. So therefore you retranslate the miut to Chetzi Even, and Chetzi Belchon, which is not Bakidushi, the other half is not Bakidushi Mamash. So also by Isha and Chetzi Isha should be similar, because the same also, similar and same mashmos, same apostle, same words. So there, the miut should be there. There's the Isha, the Chetzi Isha should be also to remind that the other part is not Bakidushi. There's a shivcha. But in a case where the whole thing is a woman and I need Chetzi Mamash, maybe there, since the other part is Bakidushi, it should be Mekudesh. That's the kasha of the Rashba against the night. Therefore, the Rashba learns a whole loop shot. Then the miut to be dumio, the same miut. Instead of something, instead it comes awkward. It comes out that by chetzi, the miut is chetzi evet. And by isha chetzi is mamash chetzi. And I mean shiur bekinyan and not mamash. The other part is not bar. Yes, but not bar kiddushi. Yes. Again? When he says chetzi v'lo isha, yes. It works automatically. The Rash was learning or the Rav? They should be the same, but the Rav says not the same. Should be the same. It's not saying the Rav is the same. So he should have said both of them the same, but it's not the same. The Rav holds that by a man. That's very should be the same. Should be the same. Man and woman should be married only when it's not about kiddushi. There's no din of shir bekinyan. No din of pram shir bekinyan. Discussion against this. Yes, it should be the same. It's not the Rav himself. Yes, kasha the Rav. But 1 second before you ask David Shlomo, here what do we talk about? You see here what happened to all your boys? Oh God, vanished. We didn't even get to the heart of the sugya, just liberation, already gone. See my problem? So that's how I thought this thing up. But mitzat sheni, if I have at least once a week a relationship with them, so even on that now they ran away, it's still netzura, it gives them netzura.
Intermission and summary.
What?
Intermission and summary.
Okay, good. Okay, good. But Baruch Hashem, only one answer of Shlomo David. David Shlomo or Shlomo David? David Shlomo, yes. No, I'm laughing because he asked me the whole sugya in one question. אתה אוהב ללכת לרמז. לא. יכול להיות, תמיד יש, אתה יודע, יש ספר של רב נחמן מברסלב, שקוראים לזה לקוטי הלוכויס, אנשס. הוא לומד כל המחלוקת זה רק רמזים. אנחנו עכשיו לא שם. אבל זה רמז.
חצי, ולהבין, שאתה פשוט חצי,
כן.
או רמז. כנראה רמז, לא יכול להיות.
זה אתה מכוון להגיד. אז באיש זה רמז, ובאישה זה ממש. אישה זה ישר, אין רמזים. גבר זה רמז. סתם. Yes, okay. Comes the Rashba, and he says like this. Comes the Rashba. Umistabra makes sense. I'm reading the last paragraph in the Rashba. Umistabra makes sense. The Achi Perusha. You know what happens? They say when somebody told me the other guy, I remember Vance used to be in Yeshiva, he says, I come to Yeshiva clothing, it's like watching a movie, a play. Have popcorn, have Coke. But what happens when you lost interest in the movie? You fall asleep. You don't get up. Let's change another one. That's good. Umistava, that makes sense. The article. Sure. Umistava, the article, this is what it means. Now we're changing a channel to the gospel. Okay. Umistava, the article, this is what it means. He says, by definition, when he says half of you Mekudeshes, the pshat there is Meshar Bekinyan. Why? Though Yevshel, because it's impossible, to say, he boys to marry to another man. So when he says Chetzi, a woman, it's Meshar Bekinyan. Though Yisrael Beitrelo Chaz, a woman cannot marry two women. What? 1 second. And what happened to what? The magical thing? No, we do not. No, you have to say no. No. This happened, you know? So no, I'm more to ask this question. This is what he said. Also, there he says a woman is not proper for two men. Kloima, which means this is the punchline, guys. Kloima, which means new channel. My reason is not because Mishum Isha Lechetzi Isha Kedesakadai. Whoa. Say when the Torah says Isha Lechetzi Isha, it's not like I thought before is a fact. Lechetzi Isha Kedesakadai. Who's Salkadaita? Abaye. Ela Mishum rather because. So Abaye learned. Isha Lechetzi Isha, Isha Lechetzi is all the same. He's saying no. Ela Mishum the Shiur the Meshabek in Yoma. What does it say? This for you, Rebel. What does that mean? His mean is our understanding that before we learned this Gzeras HaKosov. You hear this, Rabbi? Before it's Gzeras HaKosov, a dry fact. His half is out. Say, don't learn like that was the half. It was a dry out. So even when he says Chetzi Ish, it's out. He said Chetzi. He said the wrong word, wrong dibur. Out. But if you learn there's a Svaras HaTova. When the Torah says Chetzi, Ish or Chetzi, it's a Svara to it, B'shir Bekinyan, it's not Gzeras HaKosov. But it's a Svara, and then I'm going to retransfer where when Abashir is out, where Abashir is in. Elo Mishum Shiur the Meshabek in Yoma. Because I'm a Sha'ar B'Kinyan. I'm holding back my Dibur. To Meshayar B'Kinyan means, if you want me to tell my, I'm going to reveal the secrets. The Birkat Shmuel says it means that Kiddushin be'etzem, you cannot, Kiddushin in essence is full das, full Maaseh. And when I say Shiur, when I say half, I'm a Sha'ar in the Kinyan, because the essence of Kin is all. It's not, this is the big Kiddush. This is what I'm saying now. This is the big Kiddush. Listen right. No, I'm saying a big, much deeper Kiddush. Much deep, very deep, I'm saying. This is what Birkat Shmuel explains. He's saying, when a person says Aram Mekudeshes, Kiddushin means all. And the Das is all. I'll say why don't say once before you jump. 1 second, listen, let me speak about the next minute, you can ask me. No, don't clarification. After I say yes, clarification. What do you want to say? Yes. No. Listen carefully. When the person says Aram Mekudeshes, before he adds the word Chetzi, Kiddushin in essence, Mimele by itself, is full Kiddushin and Das Bekula. This is the words of Reb Chaim Alevi. Birkat Shmuel. Da is En Kiddushin Lechatzoi means, it's like Kedusha Saguf, it's not Peiros. The word Kiddushin means Kedusha Saguf, in essence intrinsic, and there's no half, it's all. There's no half, it's all. What? 1 second. Before he said the word half. Say Aram Mekudeshes before he said the word half. 1 second. They have questions before I speak. First, let me speak. Here's the questions. I know what you clarify. I want what I'm saying too. So I know that. all. I understand. So I'm saying like this. When a person says Aram Mekudeshes, it's a Maaseh all and Das. You have a complete Das, it's a Gilui and on his Das as all. Because what's the big Kiddush here? This is the deep part. You rebel. Listen carefully. This is the big Kiddush. Normally, when a person speaks, Aram Mekudeshes Lechetzi, so I can say it's Loshon Rishon, Loshon Achon. The word Aram Mekudeshes means all, and when he says Chetzi, he means Chetzi. So it's a contradiction what he meant. That's the mode of translating the Gemara, right? No. Terms of Birkat Shmuel says no. When he says Aram Mekudeshes, the essence of Kiddushin is Das, is Kuloi, is Kedusha Saguf, it's Bekuloi, and it's not Peiros, and the Das on Bekuloi. That's Mimele. When I say the word Chetzi, it's only words, it's not Das. Which is, it's not what the Maaseh tells me. When I say Aram Mekudeshes and I do a Maaseh of Kiddushin, I give him money, so Aram Mekudeshes, the word Aram Mekudeshes, it's a Maaseh that Mimele Bekul and Das Bekul. When I say Chetzi, it's words which I wishfully words, through words that I want to cut down the Maaseh and make a new Maaseh doesn't exist. The Sha'ar B'Kinyan. The Kin is all, and then like the concept of Tnai, right? The places that Ksubas stuff involved says, what's Tnai? What's condition means? Condition means that it's a full Maaseh. Condition breaks it. That's what he says. For full Maaseh, the Shiur B'Kinyan. What do you want to say? Yes. Very good. This is what it means to say Meshayar B'Kinyan. What does Meshayar B'Kinyan mean? What does it mean? It could be two meanings, two ways, and I'm choosing one way. I'm going to say the two ways, and I'll show you I'm choosing one way. Two ways is, when I say Aram Mekudeshes, the words mean that I mean all. When I say Chetzi, I said I mean half. So what do we follow? I follow his first words, his last words. All together. So I mean Chetzi. Now this is one way that we said that's not what he said. That's not what's going on. What's going on is something else. What's going on here is we're saying Aram Mekudeshes, the essence of Kiddushin. I pick up from the shelf. I want Kiddushin. Aram Mekudeshes. I want to give you Kiddushin. So I look in the Torah. What is Kiddushin? The Maaseh Kiddushin is on all. Maaseh Kiddushin is the Das on all. Das and the mice is an all. Mimele my das is all. Mimele my das and all. Because that's what I picked up from the shelf of Kiddush. Stands the word. I looked at the dictionary. What this means? Kiddush. Kiddush is lower and Kiddush lechatzoy. It's a full mice with a full das. And then I speak words which is abakadabra. I said, but I wish, not according to the Torah's rules and what I pick up from the shelf, like I bought a statue. I wish I want to cut his head, I want to chop it out, but it's not, you lose a statue. But that's what I want. I said the word chetzi, which means it's a contradiction when I say chetzi, is not you say, decide what I meant A or I meant B. No, I meant A because I picked up from the shelf the word Kiddushin is it's A. But now B wants to Messiah, wants to let go and cut off part of it. Which means as if I exist all. It's already exists when I said whatever Kodesh is. And my dibur is when I say Rabbi Kodesh is the word Kiddushin includes in the words complete das and Maise Bekula and das Bekula is Kedusha Sakuf. There's no payers. And when I say afterwards Chetzi, it's like a tonight. So I want to break it. It's a breaking. It's not internal that you decide what I meant A or B. It's an outside break. That's the depths of the Bikah Shmuel. Following up, that's the pshat. That's a big svara. And why did Bikah Shmuel have to say that? You know why? Because like this, he gains at the whole sugya as one point.
What?
No. The whole sugya is that's why, although we're learning the sugya first, what we're learning now, Chetzi Isha, and only then we learn next week the sugya of Ispashtus. In the Bikah Shmuel is opposite. First he puts the sugya of Ispashtus, then learn the Machlokes Raiv and the Rashba. And there he says that the only way we can have an Avamin, that by Kiddushin, and the words Kiddushin, you have Ispashtus, because the essence of Kiddushin is a Maise Bekuloi, and Das Bekuloi. And there's only the Dibur is Messiah. Is an outside of Messiah. And that's why I want to have a complete Maise, a complete Das. And Dibur Messiah, and in the world of Dibur, I can extend, I say Poshto. That's why I can learn Kiddushin to Ekdesh. Although Ekdesh of Oif, the Gemara says there's no limud. There's a limud of Poshto. How can we, that's a Rishonim's kasha. How can you learn Poshto from Hegdesh to Kiddushin, even in Hegdesh itself, when there's no Poshto, the Gemara there's another works. So the Bikah Shmuel answers. Because in Tzadam, I say Kiddushin, Maise Kiddushin means complete. Complete Maise, complete Das. The Dibur is only shield. It's an outside force to weaken it. So in the outside force of the Dibur Mekulko, there's outside force there I can extend on the mice that I have already, a full mice, and I can do Poshto. And because by Hegdesh, we learn two things. You have a full mice, the Pshitus by Hegdesh, which is Dibur, I have two levels, two dini. One I extend the mice, and then I extend also the Dibur of Hegdesh, the Bitus Fasai. Here he says, I don't need to extend the mice because any mice Kiddush is an all, and that is an all. I only need to extend the Dibur. Only that part I can learn from English I can bypass, even though in other parts of English the Gemara has a doubt, but in other parts of English I want to learn two dinim. So, but if I only want to learn one thing, I can learn. That's all piece enough, right? So,
What about each? How does that?
same thing, right?
Same
thing. Because it means the relationship. When it says Chetzi, it's a relationship. 1 second. Let's see what Bikah Shmuel said. 1 second. So first, this is what he said in Aleph. Comes the Bikah Shmuel is Mechadas. This is the dead part of the whole Chiddush here. And he's saying, this is the Yasoid. He found a Rashba that what he said, he has to now fix the Rebbe to be like him. But the Rashba is definitely the same Yasoid. The Rashba says the concept of Chetzi is Shiur Bekinyan. It's not exactly a of Chetzi out. No, it's a Shiur Bekinyan. What does that mean, Shiur Bekinyan? Means that that Kiddushin is no Chatzoim, Kedusha Saguf is fully. His only problem is Dibur, is Rishayim and Dibur. That's why you can have Poshto. Or that's why the Gemara knocks it out. The Torah passes when you do Shiur out by Chetzi Isha. The Rav learns same way by Chetzi Isha, also by Chetzi Isha. Comes the Rav, and it's the pictures the Mamish can dance. Comes the Rav according to the AI glass of Apple of 2026. Comes the Bikah Shmuel says, no, We define the right. The right is not mean. So Chetzi Isha means that there's no such thing Chetzi Kiddushin. It says full Kiddushin, and there's only Kilkul in the Dibur, and the Torah throws that out. What about it being the Kotel Rai? Throw it out. The Kotel Rai says Chetzi Isha Likuri. Kotel Rai is in. So then what? There's such Chetzi Kiddush or Yemen. Our whole Torah has been thrown out of the shout. No, so then you can say, but Kiddushi. There's no such thing Chetzi Kiddushi. And even by the man when he says Chetzi, Kiddushin is all. But Kiddushi is Kal. Mekudeshet lechetzi. The word Kiddushin, once listen, I heard what you said. Now you talk. When a man says, I am Mekudeshes lechetzi, when a man says, I am Mekudeshes lechetzi to my hand, when he says the word Mekudeshes means all there's no Kiddushin Chatzoyim, there's Kiddushin Sakuf, well, is there a speculation or not? The story. The purpose says, Mekudeshes lechetzi. When he said the word Mekudeshes, what does Mekudeshes mean? No, Kiddush lechetzi. That's your shot to answer it. It doesn't matter. Even if I follow your shot, it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm explaining in depth with the contradiction that the Bikashon have to spend time to explain the name to solve it to Simon Steve Bay to Steve Allen. Just putting it all together. Giving you consciousness and learning. Conscious learning means to understand what's a problem he's solving. Says that's the issue. It's not a problem. It's a contradictory piece of Bikashon. That says there's no Chetzi Kiddushi. Just the internal problem of Bikashon. We sell it because your approach I think is wrong. Say no, Chet. It's like first of all the conscious and learning to understand what was the table. Because after he explained the posture, then he goes to the Mechais who's bothering it. There's nonsense. But we find that I've against us all clear. We find that says, let's see he works. He says, works. Contradiction or no? Contradiction. She has to solve it. We solve it. To find a solution. Yes, Rabbi.
Solve according to the custom.
Right.
Each below 15.
Right.
So, let's leave it there. And when we get to each, we have another opportunity.
Right.
So therefore, we don't have to learn because there's a custom that it goes against our strong.
And what will be the thing when he says, even that?
Even that.
So, but it's Chetzi Kiddushi, no? There's no Chetzi. Oh. So 1 second. So they have a kasha against this. So the Maisa, when he says Chetzi Lekula, will be whole marriage or Chetzi marriage? Oh, that's one shot. That's a possibility. That's shot Nerayvet. Another possibility means they say that he's Bemayit, and the Teilim passes it. Although when he said the word Ayam Kodesh is fully, because there's no the Das and the Maisa is done all, but when he's Meshaya B'Tibur, and that's what he wants. And the Torah need not the Torah meet them to what tonight. I'm saying, you see, no, it is good because there's an outside. So, let me finish up with it. 1 second. The whole point is he has to go. They say lose the Iker Kiddush of the Shir. The main thing is that the main thing you have to say that doesn't matter you choose your shot. And when it says Ayam Kodesh Lechetzi means I throw out his words Chetzi and it stays all and should be married all. One option, I don't think that's a shot. 1 second, I'm saying no. When he said Chetzi, the term you throw out is outside tonight. Kiddushin is cooler and das cooler. He made a shiur, that's his rotzon against the Torah. Question is, this shiur works or not? So by Chetzi, but can it be Chetzi or not? Lemaisa should be Chetzi Mekudeshes. Chetzi Mekudeshes, right? The law is Chetzi Mekudeshes. So throw in his words and she's Mekudeshes. Oh no, we take his words and the Torah didn't prohibit him to do Chetzi, and he has the ability to make haloi, to do outside tonight, to remind it. And either way, that's how we solve the cash. To solve the cash is to say that in essence, against the others, it's an argument. It's a kiddush with a cooler. So only shot on those people. So no what happens. One thing is I throw out his words to do it. That's a side point. It's not the I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you guys.
And then all of a sudden, you don't need this. What's this?
So I want to relate to Rabbi Yosef Chaim's Kash. He's asking me Kasha on the Bikashur, on the Raivet. What are you asking? According to my understanding, the Raivet. The by, I say like this. The by a woman, I learned the Gzeras HaKosov one way, and a man, I learned the Gzeras HaKosov another way. And why? In the essence of Kiddush and Kiddush L'Chatzoi. In the structure, no, I'm learning the same means they all this concept in Kiddush L'Chatzoi. Everybody must hold that in concept Kiddush means Kiddush HaSakor is fully. Nadash fully. Yes. Before there's an outside meal. It's like a Tanai, it's outside meal. So let's go to Gatsin.
So each people, by the woman, the people is no good, it's bad people.
Yes.
And surely
Because the Torah throw it out.
surely there's a custom.
The Torah threw it out. The Torah didn't throw it out. Because I know it's Ksarasakosу. Who says? Yes. He's all, one second, I'm explaining to you. We only involve course the rabbis to learn the Ksarasakosу by a man different than a woman. I can tell you 50 svars. I make out of my stomach. I tell you a svar. You want outside svar. You want outside svar. Not involved. The svar. So another way. Point to you. The whole point to you. Point to you. Point to you. I understand what you want to say. No, I tell you what's the difference. I don't care. I can answer what you said, okay? Because since a man can marry two women, so which means even half a man is a complete essence. Sure, that's what you said. Good, I got it. But it's not the point. You now involve. I'll explain you why I'm not involved with that. Because you involved to explain the internal machlokes Rashba and Raiv. I'm saying the subject of the Bikashur is not that. So the words is to explain the whole suga at one point in Kiddush L'Chatzoi. And the dibur of Chetzi is an outside force to Messiah. That's the whole piece. Understand that? Okay, so now I explain why by a minute that doesn't work. I said because the goes, no, you want to say it's the essence is very hard to explain. Because the Indian, the word, someone says, according to you, says the word Indian. The Indian, I'm going to read the language, what you want to say, and I'll explain what you said. I heard very well. This doesn't matter. It's possible. I don't think that's the word, but it means he says like this. The word says that the ish, reading the language, aval gabeish, here. Mishum de'en b'ze'inyan shiur. By a man, there's no subject of shiur. Why? Because because in the end, I can marry two women. So therefore, there's no inyan of shiur. In what case? He's learning even the case when I say etzi v'leikula, which I said I don't want to marry another woman. But since in essence the inyan, there's no inyan. Everybody say inyan means no. Sorry, I don't think that's what it means. Because you have to explain it slower. Inyan means the subject we spoke about before.
Share the meat.
That's my understanding. You want to say intrinsic by a man, there's no concept of she. I understand what you're saying. I understand very, very clear what you're saying. I don't think it's true, but it's possible. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the Iker Chidush. That's the point. The Iker Chidush is, and that's where he spends the whole piece to explain this, that Kiddushin is Kedushas Aguf. There's a mitzvah, when I say Agan Mekudeshes, I take out of the shelf. Out of the Torah, the word Mekudeshes means all. And the Das says that all, even if I said Shiur, it's an outside. The word Kiddushin means all, and that's all. I say Shev. I'm basically fighting, it's like a Tanai. So what is the Chiddush of tonight when they go to moving? Means I have a full mind. Not that Maisa is condition, which means there's a one side, it's two study. One side, there is an action, one side there's no action. It says no. Toys and Ksuba space 56 says, they want to say, if you go to your father. So it doesn't mean if you go to your father, there's a marriage. If you don't go to your father, there's no marriage. No, that's not what it means. It means there always is a marriage. But if you don't go to your father, it breaks the marriage. That's based on the for. That's when you need the Kiddush of Tonight we're going to move it. That the mice is fully and the tonight breaks it. This is what it says here. When a person says Kiddushin, means all. That's a mice, and that's the das. We said the words of Kiddushin, remember all. The people that says Hetz, it's a people. It's a people of my wish. So I'm fighting with the essence of my Kiddushin. So by Hetzi should have threw it out. According to everyone. Like Hetzi should have like a I'm behind it. That's how Kiddushin works. Nobody argues about it. It's the main thing. He asked me a question. Point to the Bible. Why the Torah throw it out? And what happens here? I think one way is over that's up the point. Study something. Okay. Good. I read.
Why
Yes.
say array at? So why we don't say that it's the evil like it's part of the evil. Why don't say?
But it's only Dibur, not a Maise.
No.
The big Kiddush is when I say Arei At Mekudeshes, the word Mekudeshes, the word Kiddushin means full action, a relation between a husband and wife. The relationship is fully and not as fully. Then when I say word is Hetzi, I'm doing an outside word to fight the essence of my Kiddushin. That's it. That's the whole point of the discussion. Contradiction is I'm not intrinsically told you that when I say Kiddushin means only half. Kiddushin means all. I want to cut out, I want to trim out, I want to carve out something Kiddushin, but Kiddushin means all. Doesn't change that. That's a big Kiddush.
This is a word. So he says,
right? But we look at the what words mean. Kiddushin is a relationship. And if you ask me the simple story, that's a simple story. Why? Because Kiddushin is a relationship. A marriage relationship is fully. The concept of marriage is full. Can't count yourself in half women. You can marry a man and woman, but each woman has a full relationship. Like two children. Every child is full of. In reality, can and time consume it, but in love and conceptual relationship is a full relationship. It's a simple story. This was everybody should agree to that. So machlokas about it, and that's why the Gemara learns. Kiddushin is not the Kiddushin, the words. When I was Mekalkel, the outside word, said no words I can extend, but the Ma'aseh is always there. That's why I can learn from Ekdesh to here. So that's the whole piece of the Shmuel. That's a depth, and that's what it means. Yes. Yes, Sir Gabriel. Oh. Psh. Unbelievable telling them that. You understand English? I'm very happy that you hold on to now to 124, and you already have pushed on 124 level, which most boys already filled out. What's this question? A young boy. How old are you? No, it's a big kid. Oh, Hashem. Yes.
What would happen if we say, like, two Chetziai and you start with Chetziai, and after that,
That was the Fakira. The problem in the Maisa, the problem in Chalosh, he was Makir, the problem in the Maisa. The Torah threw out which Maisa means the deeper of the Maisa. Doesn't matter if he said the word Mekudesh before and after. But after he came the concept of Kiddush was all. And he said Dibur of Chetz. Says a contradiction. He said to Chetziyai, more as a suffix, I don't know, in the Dibur. But it's not, that's the whole point. It's only in the Dibur and not in the Maisa. So he's Mekadesh. Not only the problem of Chetzi is not in the Kalois to the Maisa, but the Maisa Kiddush is all is in the Dibur of the Maisa. That was the next, but that's base. That's a big Kiddush of the Kashmir.
From the Korban, so we saw that he can mechanic just the feet.
Right.
As it's not just Dibur, it's also in the master.
True. So by Kiddushin is Maisa and Dibur, but when we learn the Kiddushin, he says is only in the Dibur, not in Maisa. And that's how he solves the question: how can we learn Kiddushin to Egdesh to here? Egdesh is a posuk. Even in Egdesh of Oiv, the Gemara says no posuk is out. So here why the Gemara didn't understand. The Gemara was posuk that they can learn Kiddushin to Egdesh, because we're not learning on the Maisa. We're learning one. Maisa was always an all. We just want to extend the Dibur, because the Dibur was outside Dibur. We want to knock it out. That's a whole piece. It's a whole piece of Aleph and Beis. And he puts the Ramban, the Raiva, together with the Rashi. Okay, Rabbi Yisrael. Bezrat Hashem, I want next week to move to Aleph, basically. Next week, when move to Aleph means to Aleph B'Kashmur, the Machloik, the Gemara Nifshet Kedusha B'Kula. Let's extend the Kedushin. That's really B'Kashmur and Scott Aleph. Learn the Tersos well. There's a Toises here. There's Toises Reed. There's another Pshat. And there is the B'Kashmur here that explains in depth how it works. This will be next week to learn inside. Okay, now we're going to say Musa sheets. What? No, in the sheets here. Yeah, there's no sheets. Yes, there's no sheets. There's no sheets. Pashto, yes, Sugya of Pashto. It's really the same Sugya. It's just we're learning base and Sifkot and base. It's really Aleph. We remember the Bikashmur, Sifkot and Aleph. Learn Bikashmur, or another word, learn the whole Bikashmur from beginning to end. That's a better way to put it. It's the same sugar in another part. Because Shmuel puts it in one thing to show you that the whole thing is like we just said now, but we learn it in more depths, in details. Toises, Seed, the was the Havamina, the Makne, was the Maskoni of the Miluim. Because Shmuel is saying, he's just saying like David Miluim was saying Shimuchkov. There's a lot of world, there's a whole world. Rabbi Yosef Chaim discuss that doing what? Okay, Bezrat Hashem. Yes, I'm Islamite. And by the way, Rabbi Yosef Chaim, I didn't disagree with your pshat. I mean, I didn't say your pshat is out. Just think that it's not the pshat in the words, but it's possible. And the main chiddush is that that's internal between the Rashba and the Raiva. It's not in the Ikar chiddush, the crown of the Birkas Shmoni, which my Rabbi was the main point I want to stress. Yes, but first you have to divide the groups.
Okay.
The groups. No, I'm not giving shiur in the morning. I'm going to give a shiur on the internet. You can follow in each group in a different day. Sunday, I'm going to give to one group. Monday to another group. Yom Shlishi to a third group. Yom Revi as if there's a fourth group. I don't think there's a fourth group. But if there isn't, and then on Thursday. So it'll be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday will be both shiur, and Thursday will be a shiur club. It can be on Zoom. Yes, I put it on Zoom. It will be from 10:30 to 12. Or 10 to 11:30, or 10, I won't announce. Or 10 to 11:30. I don't think so. The guys will gather so quickly. Sleeping away. But if I gather on time, I'll be 10 to 11:30. Now I'll be 10:30 to 12. Okay.
But you listen, every time you say the Maisa,
Right.
the Maisa is only because he said the word Mikudesh.
Right.
It's not just the
Right.
Maisa by itself.
Also giving money.
But he said the word Mikudesh,
Right.
plus that word, not because the Maisa, the word indicates the Maisa.
I agree. I understand. Most socials. Okay. Where's Reb Shloim is here? Shmuz a little bit. Yesterday was a big tragedy. Siyata Nishma. I want to bring down the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah. Okay. The Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah, with the help of Hashem, the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah discusses in the end of days, the Goyim will ask Hashem that they want a reward. They want a reward from helping the Jewish people. Yes. The Romans build markets, easy to get food. They build a bathhouse. And people can enjoy themselves or enjoy better, not being pulled too much to it. They created coins, money, gold and silver. They created a currency, easy to trade, wealth, the commonwealth of it says in Yusifun that Rome was so rich that nobody in Rome had to work. They didn't have to work. That almost 200 days out of the year there was festivals, and all the wheat. It says in Yusifun, I saw that. And everybody, all the wheat and everything was for free. Because they had so much taxes from around the world, that so much wealth, they didn't have to work in 20 days, 200 days out of whatever 365 days, because they used to follow the sun. 2/3 of the year was festivals, drinking, eating, women, this, that, drunk, used to be drunk, Trump, right, black, drunk, and they used to have bathrooms that people used to eat and vomit, eat again, and enjoy a very enjoyable life. And Rome. So they accumulate wealth in the world. So they want reward for that. So the Gemara says they throw them out. Such a small Gemara, I better read it. Okay. Goes on and details which each state, which country, each kingdoms ask for, and Akash Baruch Hu knocks them out by saying, "Okay, great, you did what you did, but you did it for yourself, not for me."
God appeared to a physical nation.
He said not for me, if it was
He
me.
did not for Am Yisrael. Okay, and then the Gemara goes on to explain that when Hashem does all that, and he throws all the nations out of the judgment because he has back and forth with them and he shows them that they were wrong. Then he said, "Listen, if you would force us like the Jews, that you put you put the Mount Al Sinai on them to force them to accept the Torah. So then we will keep the Torah too. You didn't force us. We told you you don't want, and you went away. But by Jews, you forced them. So if you forced us, we'll do it too. So give us reward." So the Gemara, good taina, and the Gemara says, "No, it's not good taina, because on Sheva Mitzvot Noach that you did accept, you didn't keep." Okay. And then the Gemara says that Akash Baruch Hu at that day he laughs. And only one day in the world, in the creation of the world, is Yosef Sham Yitzchak. He's happy. Moses Akash is not true. Many times he's happy. I believe Yosef. All back and forth of Hashem is happy, not happy. Only that day is happy. And then the Gemara goes on. What does Hashem does every day? And this is the what I want to get to. So the Gemara says it like this.
In the first,
Said you can't say sin.
Right?
the first 3 hours.
Yitzchak says Yitzchak. Yoshev b'shamayim Yitzchak. Yoshev b'sachakim livyoson. Okay. So let's go here. The Gemara says the first 3 hours. The first 3 hours, Hashem sits and he toil. The second 3 hours, he sits and he judges the whole world. We're talking about judgment. So it's one time, but every day he judges. Okay. When he sees the world is not succeeding, he moves from kisei adin kisei rachamim. Shlishis, the third 3 hours, he sits down and he feeds the whole world. The whole world means men, animals, creatures, everything. The Gemara has a discussion. What does he do in the 4th hour? The 4th 3. The 4th 3 hours, because the day is 12 hours. So the Gemara says as follows. The Gemara is back and forth. What does he do? It's too small for me to fill. Okay.
Different Gemara.
If you have a big Gemara, it's easier. Every time I look, my eyes jump around. I can't see.
What is Zorah?
Okay.
¿Qué hacía la cuarta hora?
When the first, which
Daf Gimel Amud Beis.
Yes.
It's much better. Much better. This one. It's very hard to see. Okay. Thank you, Shikoyach. Okay. Much easier. Shikoyach. Much easier. Okay. So the Gemara says, that's the point here. The Gemara says that the Gemara says like this. Uberevi Ismayovid Yoshev Umelamed Tinokoi Shel Beisrabon Toiro. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the last 3 hours of the day, he sits and he teaches babies of Beisrabon. Tinokoi Shel Beisrabon, he sits and he teaches them Torah. Shenemar, as it says, Esmi Yoredeo, Vesmi Yovin Shmuo, who Hashem will teach understanding and subject of Shmuos, Musa Shmuz, the Shmuo, the subject of the Torah, Gumumei Halav, Tikei Mishadayim, Lemi Yoire, who Hashem will teach, Deo, Legmul Halav, those that finish to suck milk from the mothers, Ulein Atike Mishadayim, those that stop drinking water from the milk from the mothers, like 2 years old and upwards. Tinoika Shebesrabon, when they are small, when they are young, Hashem teaches them Torah. What does that mean? So simple is, we're talking about babies that died before the time. How old was he? Yisrael ben Sion, 5 years, 4.5 or 5? 5. So 5 years old, now they died. The whole life of Torah is gone from them. So who Hashem teaches Torah? Lemi yoire, Deo, lemi yorin shmua. לגמולי חלב על עתיקי משעתיים, תינוקו שבישרבון. And not only that, the Gemara says before the Chum Beis Hamikdash, Mana v'Gomerlu, the Gemara says Matatoi. And now Hashem himself, V'imay Seimar, before he did 2 things. He's playing with the Livyoson, and he also teaches kids. So, or Hashem teaches the king, the kids, and we say the word man in this. Hashem said the name. And this angel, which has Hashem name in it, Yud Kei Vav Kei. He's the teacher. He's the one who plays with that Livyoson. Hashem does both. Mainly what Hashem does is in those last 3 hours of the 12 hours of the day, Hashem sits and he teaches Tinokas one that died early. The Zohar HaKodesh says that it's not only Yeridis Reb Shlomo, it's not only he teaches Tinokas Shebasrabon, the learn Torah, himself. And what does that mean? That's what it says. As Zohar, I'm quoting in the Shanansi. יש מפרשים ביחס גם לעולם הזה. דהיינו שהקדוש ברוך הוא נויסה לתינוק שבסרבון, ויכלים להגיד, סרטוי אבינו זוהר, איסקור. Okay. Okay. It's in prayer. Now, when I read this Gemara, I thought to myself, why Kadosh Baruch Hu sits and he teaches Torah to those kids that died early? Why Hashem spends a quarter of this day before Beis Hamikdash, after he does it? Hashem teaches young babies, young kids that died early. What's going on? Why? What's going on? So I understood very important. I want to explain something for you, Reb Shlomo. So I thought say that because I didn't speak in Elavaya because I felt it wasn't proper. But now I think that I want to speak about this union. Very important union. Very deep. Very serious. It says, and Ruth, that Naomi told Ruth, Yeshalem Hashem loch askoltet shlema. Hashem will pay you a complete wage. The Goyim Mivila says, what does it mean, Yeshalem loch Hashem askoltet shlema? The Goyim Mivila says, a convert that converted in the middle of his life. And then he dies after a couple of years. He comes up to Shammai. Okay, he learned 5 years, 10 years, 20 years Torah. But you lived 70 years. What about all those years that he learned Torah? 50 years in learned Torah, 40 years in learned Torah. Baal Tshuva, how extended Baal Tshuva? Every person did Tshuva. He grew up, Tinot Shenishma was captured, and only 30, 20, 40, 50 years old, he got awakened. Somebody, Hashem, was Menachem on him. His forefathers, Menachem on him, and Shammai, and then Mezamen to him, somebody to inspire him. And Hashem gave him courage to do Tshuva, and he did Tshuva. He started learning Torah. What happened all those years that he learned Torah? Zok the Goyen. The Goyen says, this is what he says. Yeshalem Maskoyer Shlema. Maskoyer Shlema means if a person, he was almost, and then he was there. He did Tshuva when he converted from him, when he did what he can, he learned Torah. So Hashem will pay him Maskoyer Shlema, as if he lived the entire life. What happened at baby? 2 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. They said he used to tell him stories. This afternoon they told him a 2-hour story about Nevi'im, prophets, stories of Nevi'im. But how much he learned? The Gemara, as it was built on the Medrash, the Ramah brings it down in Yoredim Chasavenus, that from when you say Kaddish on a child, when a child says the word Amen, at that moment, is Zoichel Olam. He said Amen, and you say Kaddish for him. The child finished to drink milk. Tikei Mishadai. They didn't have the chance to learn Torah. Or they had very little. Hashem said, Esmi, Hashem will teach understanding. To me, Hashem will explain the Torah to those children, to Israel, Ben Zion, Israel Ben Zion, he didn't have the schools. Hashem took away. Another the schools. Hashem took away for the time. So what about all the next 70 years of Torah, 100 years of Torah he didn't learn? He says, don't worry, I'll teach to the level that Hashem pays himself. Direct. Because what is learning Torah in Shamayim is a relation with Hashem. It says here, Yeshiva Shel Mato, Yeshiva Shel Malo, you go up in levels connected to Hashem. He's a direct. The Maskoya Shleimer sings from the milk, which means he didn't even say Amen. Even nothing, just stop drinking milk. So there's nothing what to build on it. But he said Amen or some stories to give him up. He's pure. I'm going to teach him directly myself. Yoshe. Some school. But the Hashem is Maskora Shleimo. The Maskora Shleimo Hashem teaches him directly. Every day, Hashem spends the time, Kivyocho, what it means. And he sits and he teaches the Tinoika Shabesrabo that didn't have the ability, didn't have the schus. To learn Torah, he says, don't worry, I'll pay you Maskora Shleimo. I'll teach you directly. You have a direct relation with Hashem. That's why this rabbi who said, he says, I have person that is clear day and night and he does mitzvahs, it's good for the young. Because he has less challenges. He'll live long, maybe he'll fail. Analab is a schusser to take it away. So in that sense, it's a good thing. There's a fact he died young. He got the full reward without having to go through the physical world. Most people fail. It's better not to be brought. Such a noise. Now that you okay, do tshuva best you can, but most people fail. So I want to say to you, Reb Shlomo, as a little bit of a nechama, that Hashem is teaching him Torah. See it Israel every day, yesterday already, and today. She will keep him, give him a square shlema. We don't want that. It's with the physical world, but in the essence, it's much better. Because again, maskor shlema without, as the Rambam says, person with Torah and he has no availance is better for him. Because he doesn't go into failure. The Dayan is good. Not only does he says a person should daven. That's what he said. I need to read him. He gets a Rambam that he should die young in that sense and not to fall into dishonesty. That's very hard to say. Maybe I'm adding, and that's what I understood what he said. But in concept, I understand. It's a very big yesoid. Yes, what do you want to say?
When you're in Kolel, you're still called Tinok Shabbat.
Right. Okay. Baruch Hashem. So we won't need our babies until the last day of our life. You have the schus to be in the Kolel, the Diaspora Yeshiva. Hashem should give you a schus to live many more years and to be Hashem should give us the schus and the merit to and what your son said, that right before he said Baruch Atah Hashem Sha'akom Yom B'Dvoroi, then he died. After he died. So when we said the word Sha'akom B'Dvoroi, he died. That's what he said to Levaya. Last he said Sha'akom B'Dvoroi. Pure child. Hashem took away pure child. So we have to learn from this, and we are in this world to be schazek and Sha'akom B'Dvoroi. That we do live, Baruch Hashem, not to fail, and ask Hashem to be Tinokish B'Srabon all our life. Like you said in the koil, you stay in it. Oh, he brings down the name of the Chazon Ish, that somebody that dies very young, you only have to sit Shiva, not on minyan. You don't have to say Kaddish and not to learn Mishnah because of no Averos. But that's 2 and 3. He died at 5. Okay, it's different. But anyhow, it's the same idea. The Gemara says, Yoshem Melamed Tinok Shebesrabim, means he started to learn. It's a different Gemara. And anyhow, the message is very clear. That's in the Choma, that Hashem paid him full. Number 2, I want to say, the Ohr HaChaim HaKodosh says, I think in Parshas Ba'aloischo, the Ohr HaChaim HaKodosh, beginning of the Parsha, the Ohr HaChaim HaKodosh says that when Hashem takes away tzaddikim and young, it's a big nisoin for the people. He's not a real tzaddik. Or there's no din to dying. So how come such a tzaddik died so young, or a car accident, and how come such a tzaddik like Reb Shlomo and Reb Moshe, the child died? Must be the fakers inside, they're not really tzaddikim. Hashem here, or there's no dying. The Or HaChaim says both. Hashem, that's the nisoyin Hashem gives the people, and we have to know those are true. The tzaddik, Hashem takes away mipnei rones of tzaddik, and the mechaper on the Torah. It's kapor and the tzaddikim. There's a nisoyin for us to believe. Yes, the tzaddikim, and there is a dying. There is a dying. The dying is that Hashem svivan v'sara me'oid. He took the child and he didn't teach him Torah, and he has his cheshbonos. We don't understand the full cheshbonos. Another rabbi, cheshbonos if the tzaddik, must be to bring kapor of a generation, or for the community, the family, whatever it is. You should know Reb Shlomo. 2 nights ago, I didn't sleep the whole night, and I didn't sleep the whole day. I was very worried something would happen to the family. I didn't tell you that. And I stood the whole night up. It was yesterday. Yesterday, not this night, the night before, I stood up the whole night. Then I daven vasikin, and I woke up my wife. I says, Ima, I need to give tzedakah. And I asked her to give me 100 shekels. I took her 5 shekels, 20 shekels. 100 shekels is a nice amount. She says, no, I need 100 shekels. I need something substantial. I didn't tell her why. But in my heart, I was worried, very worried. I had a feeling that something can happen. I went and I davened vasikin. I gave tzedakah before davening. I thought Hashem should be okay that day. I said that anyone damaged Masik is not going to be damaged the entire day. So I'll just tell you what happened. This is what happened to Maisa. Very worried the whole night. I was worried something will happen. I had this feeling. Sometimes I had a feeling. I don't know why. There's Mazol God, the Mazel. Very worried. The whole day I was very worried. Mamash was very worried. And Hashem should give him the Chom of Shleiman. And Be'ez Hashem, everybody should say, oh man, and Moshe get remarried quickly and easy. And a good woman, a good wife that will take care of his children. The Gemara says that in the base chorus, somebody died, his wife dies. The Gemara says, what is it? Ben Yosef, what's the Gemara says? Tracy brings down in Moed Koton. Got the name. Kiva Ben Yosef, not Kiva Yosef, something Ben Yosef, Yosef Ben Mash. That on the grave, when his wife died, they made a shidduch and a new wife on the grave. Because we're going to take care of the kids. They were kids, they were babies. They said, take care of them. So they do shidduchim right away. So she give her a broken rock. She'll find a shidduch, a good shidduch. They're able to take care of the children, bring more children. They'll be only in the home. Okay. Shabbos. Rabbi Hanania ben Akrab Shiroilet. What's that in the phone? Does that in the story of Fikra? He didn't go into a mission of Robert Zanati Crowley. I feel to all we are the Rabbi Niskane, Shemei Rabbi. Say we are people. I call me. I call me. I call me.